Hello, welcome to my channel, 100 Days of Kajo. Today is day 11 of building our personal constitution, and we are now on grounding article number 8, trusting your gut and intuition. This is super important because when you trust your gut and intuition, that means you trust yourself. So if you don't trust yourself, that means you don't like yourself. And let me ask you something. Name one person where you like and don't trust. That list doesn't exist, yet you're eager to be the first one on it. Let that go. It's important to know that you are safe in your own hands. How can you be safe in other people's hands but not your own? That's such a weird way to live. And are you weird? I don't think so, because I'm not friends with weirdos. Okay? Another note, why it's super important to learn to trust your gut intuition. You do not want your past decisions where you may have not trusted your gut, or you made a simple, silly mistake because you're young and dumb and free, to dictate your present or future decisions. Imagine trusting your mistakes more than trusting the wisdom that you built from it or got from it. That's crazy. Girl, get it together. Get it together. You should trust your gut and intuition more than you trust your fears. You should trust your gut and intuition more than you trust your doubts. You should trust your gut and intuition more than you trust your haters. Imagine believing all your haters and be like, oh, it's fact. It's fact. Are they God? I don't think so. Let it go. A little FYI, I am creating a personalized affirmation app, and if you haven't done so already, go to my description box, join our emailing listing if you're interested for when it comes out, and to answer my survey so I understand what your needs are. Thank you, I love you, and let's continue with the rest of the video. First, I want you to sit, close your eyes, and think about a time where you trusted your gut and intuition and it made you feel wonderful. Now, if you guys are having trouble with this, I'll tell you a little story about mine, because it doesn't have to be something like super big and super crazy, right? So when I was in middle school, I was applying to high school. That's what we do in our school district. And I was applying to two different magnet schools. One where they had a finance, law magnet, all these things. And another where they had a music magnet. They call it YPass. I can't remember what it stood for. With YPass, the one reason I wanted to go there, or let's say the music magnet, one of the reasons I wanted to go to the music magnet was because I had been doing orchestra for years. I played the double bass, and not a lot of people play the double bass, so there was a really high chance that I could get into this really, really good school through their music magnet. On the other hand, there was a high school that had a finance magnet, a veterinary magnet, a nursing magnet, a law magnet, all these things, but they weren't as, I guess, on par with the other high school as far as like student test scores and like where the students go afterwards, blah, 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 whatever. I believe it's what you make out of it. At the very last minute, when I was supposed to sign up for my audition, do a solo, played like, it was like a whole bunch of things I needed to do. I pulled out at the very last minute. I scrapped it and I applied to the high school that I went to, which was Central High School. And I went to Central High School and I did the finance magnet, or finance/accounting magnet. And when I tell you, leading up to it, I was just thinking about it. I wasn't sure which one to do. And I'm in middle school, so like, I don't really care. It's just like signing up for high school. Like, it didn't really matter to me that much. But I decided, you know what? Central High School, the finance accounting magnet, or the law magnet, I was still trying to decide what I was going to do was the best thing for me to do. I had no actual reasoning for it other than I just didn't want to make music my entire identity or my entire magnet, or I guess you could call it a major in high school. When I was in high school and stuff, my dad was pissed. And a couple months ago, he actually told me that when I did that, he thought I was throwing away my future. Dramatic much? Come on, man. Because again, the high school was called Manual High School. It was very, very prestigious, and a lot of really, really smart kids went there. So I was expected to go there because I guess I was considered smart. And he really thought I threw away my future. And he told me that looking back, he does think it was probably the best decision for me. But because of that, I was able to like utilize the resources I had at Central. I was able to go to undergraduate school debt-free, all merit scholarships. I got this really big scholarship called GSP, Governor's Scholars Program Scholarship, whatever. Ugh, too many words, too many abbreviations. And it worked out for the better. Now, I kind of set the tone for the rest of my siblings to like, hey, like get your stuff in order, get those A's, apply to a billion scholarships. You guys, I applied to a billion scholarships, and my dad said, you know, because you went to like Central High School, I feel like you had higher chances to get certain things because you weren't competing with A+ junkies, you know. And don't get me wrong, like I can deal with competition, but I'd rather like be chill and not be too worried about how my future is gonna go. And it was me trusting my gut. It was me making that split decision. It was me just saying, you know what, I'm good, and not thinking about what my parents had to say or whatever. That was a little long-winded, but that was one time where I vividly remember trusting my gut and intuition as a child and making the right decision. The next thing you want to ask yourself is, how does it make you feel to trust your gut and intuition, and why should you value it? The reason why I trust my gut intuition, or why it feels good, is because it makes me easy. I'm not worried. I'm not always in my mind. I'm not like always rubbing my hands when I'm nervous and trying to make a decision. I do that thing and I pace around my room. I'm not in that state. I already know the answer. And being able to recognize where I feel it in my body, to sit down, take a deep breath, tell myself it's okay. It's not a do or die situation. It feels good to go with what I want to do. For instance, I actually recently left my public accounting job in January, so not too long ago. And this was something on my mind for a really, really long time. I think I kind of knew that maybe I was stepping away from accounting, and I did so much work to get where I was, and I didn't want to throw it all away, and it felt like a waste. And as an accountant, I should know sunk cost is irrelevant, you know. And it took me a long time to get to that point, but I knew in my gut I was gonna let it go. And I kept telling myself, oh, I'll give it like 5 years, I'll work corporate, and then I'll like let it go and like focus on my other passions. And I told myself, okay, maybe until the end of this year. And my body was like, you got until Thursday. And it was Tuesday, and I was like, oh my God. And I literally decided that night, on that I think Tuesday night, and I said, you know what? I quit. I sent an email. It was probably awful. You guys don't want to do this, but I I was in training at that time, and I quit the week of training before we actually got into all the heavy duty work. And I thought I was like doing the team a favor by leaving early, which maybe I was, maybe I wasn't, who cares. And I quit, sent the email, and I said, I didn't explain myself too much, but I said I just don't align with this anymore, and it's been heavy on my heart, but I'll be dropping off my laptop tomorrow morning. Oh, my father was pissed. He was pissed. And mind you, I didn't tell him for like 2 or 3 days. And my mother also didn't believe me that I quit. She kept saying, like, are you serious? You're joking. You didn't quit. Are you serious? I'm like, yeah, girl. But I had to do it. And had I trusted my gut so much sooner, and that's another thing, I do not want to bash myself for the decisions I made in the past of not trusting my gut and trying to push through school, and trying to push through my CPA studies, trying to push through working part-time as an intern at the firm that I was working at. I was doing a lot. Like, I wasn't just sitting around and moping. Like, I as so many others would consider myself high achieving and very accomplished, but I didn't feel like it because it wasn't something I was aligned with anymore. But it was like I invested so much. I knew I wanted to be an accountant since high school. And I was in the finance magnet, as I mentioned before. I ended up choosing Central High School. I was in the finance/accounting magnet all throughout high school. I majored in accounting in college. I have 2 more classes left in my Master's of Accountancy. You guys, I'm in too deep. I'm in too deep. I invested so much time, and I was so freaking scared to let it go. And my mind was like, girl, you gotta let it go. You gotta let it go. And I was like, you know what? I'll do it. And it felt wonderful. I wasn't crying all the time. I felt like I was crying every other day. I was sad. There were times where I had very highs and lows. I would trick myself into liking it. And that's one thing. I adapt to my environment. I adapt to my surroundings. And that's something that I really love about myself, but something I have to be careful about, because I can really trick myself into an unhappy situation. And I'm like, no, I value my happiness over everything else. Oh, my happiness and safety over anything else. Quitting that same day gave me a washing relief. And I'll do it again. I'll do it again. I'll do it again. I wish I would have done it sooner, but it's okay. Maybe I needed to be so sure of this decision that I made now that I need to like feel all those emotions to understand that like, oh my God, this is not for me, to let it go. And I could always go back, but as of now, I'm giving this a shot. I'm giving a number of things a shot. If you want to instill confidence and reassurance in yourself while creating your personal constitution, follow my channel of Firmly Active Affirmations, where you'll find affirmation, ETF tapping, and guided yoga, as well as my other channel of Firmly Sounds, where you'll find soundscapes such as brown noise, white noise, rain sounds, TV static, and so much more. Okay, next. I briefly said I could feel in my body where I felt my intuition. So I want you guys to close your eyes again and think about where you feel your intuition or that gut feeling. It literally doesn't have to be in your gut, but where do you feel it? Again, for me, it is quite literally my chest and around my eyes. I feel like this warm sensation just buzzing here when I know there's a decision I have to make, when I know something just doesn't feel right, when I know I need to turn around, when I know I need to do X, Y, and Z. And I would ignore it, believing it was doubt, believing it was fear, believing it was me just trying to run away from hard work. Girl, I'm not running away from hard work, okay? Trying to ignore my gut, trying to ignore my intuition was the hard work. It doesn't matter how difficult something is in life. When it's for you, it feels good. And what I was putting myself through did not feel good. You can also think about where you feel all your emotions. That's typically where you'll feel your intuition, because intuition is a feeling. There's nothing logical about a gut feeling, about intuition. It has to do all with your emotions, but it's something deeper within you that just knows what's for you, that you think, oh, well, that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't have to make any sense. Your deep subconscious knows what is for you more than you do, because you're too blinded by doubt and fear and external factors and validation and all these other things. You really need to just like take a step back and allow your body to take the wheel, allow God to take the wheel, allow the universe to take the wheel, whatever way that helps you understand what that means. And again, you can also use EFT tapping when you are talking through your emotions, when you are feeling it and saying it's going to be okay, and analyzing the experience and saying, okay, that made me feel really bad. Why does it make me feel really bad? Talk about it. And you don't have to be like a kumbaya little girl. Like, you could be like cussing, you could be angry, you could be like talking gibberish, but as long as it comes out, that is for you and it's only for you. Like, you don't need to do this around people. You need to find like a safe space. Don't be like me and do it in a public park. I'll do it again, but just don't be like me. The next thing you want to do is list ways you will practice encouraging, acknowledging, and trusting that gut and intuition. One way I do it is take a step back and go for a walk. Love a walk. I do EFT tapping. I try to meditate. I like affirmations. I love to do like yoga and stretching while I say affirmations and talk through any situation that I'm in. That's one of the reasons why I have active affirmations and my app Affirmly. And I'm getting more comfortable talking about it too, so you guys will see that throughout the series. And I'm able to really sit in it and understand it when I do those things. So you need to figure out what are practices, what are ways that you can do the same. Now, if you want to try what I've been doing, then, go for it. It's really helpful to involve movement with thinking things through. And lastly, in your personal constitution, in this grounding articles section, I want you to make a promise to yourself to trust your gut and intuition. Promise your inner child that you will guide them in the right way, that you will put their interest and your interest at the forefront of your decisions, that you will not allow external validation, you will not allow doubt and fear to steer you away from what you're supposed to do, from who you're supposed to be, and how you're supposed to feel. Okay, thank you for watching my video. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time.